What's going on, everyone? So, Steven Adams is sticking around with the Houston Rockets. The Houston Rockets have retained Steven Adams on a 3-year, $39 million deal. So basically $13 million a year for Steven Adams, which, based on reports and the way he played last year, particularly in the playoffs, about the rate in which he was likely going to get, right? I think the Steven Adams signing highlights a couple key points that I really want to talk about. I've touched on in like videos, but just kind of in passing. I kind of want to, provide the information for those that aren't familiar. So a couple of things. One, teams can make trades, make signings, do all that stuff, right? The moment that they are done with the season, as soon as their off season starts, they just can't, negotiate and do the things with teams that are still participating, right? Also, with the new CBA and stuff, teams get that window now. I think it's like 72 hours, something like that. They get that window now. You saw it last year in the CBA where they get the opportunity to retain their players before they hit the market, right? That they get this kind of little window now, and it's to give teams that have players the advantage to retain said players rather than losing them or teams being able to come in, right? So Steven Adams is a great example of this, right? That a team just never let their guy get on the market, right? And I've seen comments and people in general and through various posts about it that like, oh, the Lakers missed out on Steven Adams, right? One less center on the market, but he was never on the market. Right? I mean, technically, sure, right? Like he technically was a free agent because he signed a new contract, but like he stayed with the same team and we never even got into real free agency with them. So it was never really an option to begin with. Also, he was a guy that the Lakers probably were never going to be able to get because the only way you would have been able to get him is by freeing up your full mid-level exception, which maybe LeBron will do it, but he doesn't have to. So the likelihood of the Lakers actually getting Steven Adams, as much as I would have loved Steven Adams, there's questions about that, right? And he's comfortable. He likes being in Houston, clearly, because he stuck around in Houston and whatnot. But, a couple things that I've seen kind of floating around is the, like, 13 million for Steven Adams is an overpay. I disagree. I think that is about what his value is, right? I think I even talked about it when we first talked about, hey, Steven Adams as a target for the Lakers. I talked about him, like he's not signing a vet minimum because he's better than a vet minimum. He's not signing for the taxpayer mid-level because he's better than taxpayer mid-level. He's probably in that 10 to 15 range, right? Realistically, as a backup center in this league. Well, he got, and he's more valuable to Houston than anyone else, because he is one of, if not the best offensive rebounders in all of basketball, and Houston can't score. So their best chance to stay in games and whatnot, they were so reliant on offensive rebounds. Why they were the best offensive rebounding team in the league, because they needed as many opportunities as possible. Steven Adams, for Houston, that $13 million was probably an underpay, right? In reality, because he's so valuable for that team, given the limitations that they have. Now, obviously, if they go get Kevin Durant or whatever, maybe those things change. But as Houston is currently constructed, they need Steven Adams desperately, right? Like they need Steven Adams more than Steven Adams needs him, right? So the fact that they were able to get him on a 3-year deal, one for $39 million, I think is actually very good and very fair for them. But again, I've seen people go, oh, like this just like ruined it for the Lakers. It's at the market, but like, but again, he went for what he probably would have went for regardless. Now, if he would have signed for like a 3-year, $60 million deal, I would have been like, that is not good at all, right? Like Steven Adams just got $20 million a year as a backup. Yeah, then at that point, I would agree. I'd be like, yeah, like that might cause some big problems for the Lakers signing free agents or maybe potentially getting trades, because teams are going to be like, my guy is only, whatever. Or even a guy like Daniel Gafford, who's going to want a new contract. He's going to be like, man, Steven Adams just got $20 million. What do I get? Right? Like, I want $30 million type thing. Right? So that could have been bad if that happened, but that didn't happen. Right? Like he went for fair market value, what he would have gotten probably anywhere. Again, in that 10 to 15 million range, maybe would have gotten 11 million, whatever. He's probably getting the full mid-level exception from a team. That's what his value is, which is around $14 million. So again, he got fair value. So I don't think that this impacts the Lakers or any team looking for a big man. No, you got teams like Golden State, stuff like that. I don't think this impacts them at all. Like, if anything, this is a gives you the point of reference of like your guy, like a Nick Claxton. Nick Claxton's making 27 million. He's making 65 million over the next 3 years, or whatever, 68 million over the next 3 years, right? Like he is overpaid, right? Yeah, he's 25, but look what Steven Adams did in the offensive rebound. Like, it gives you points that you can look at and go like, look at that. This is why this, right? And, he went for fair value, right? Or if you get a Daniel Gafford, it's like, hey, Steven Adams, here's his comparables, right? He just got 13 million. You as a starter, you get 18 million, right? Because he's playing X amount of minutes and giving this amount of production. So per this, right? Like, you can paint the argument and paint the picture of like, rather than if he would have gotten greatly overpaid, then a guy like Daniel Gafford who's going to need a new contract is going to go, well, I want 25 or I want 30 million. Well, now it's like, well, you want starting level money. He got backup level money. 13 million, 10 to 13 million is the backup money. Starter is, you look at the going rates for a lot of these guys is around 18 to 20 million, right? So again, there it is, right? So to me, I look at, unless you're like, obviously if you're like a superstar, so like Jokic or anything like that, but the average center is, at starter money is only like I said, about 18 million. Bench money is about 10 to 13 million, depending on the caliber that you are, right? Like there's a guy like a Clint Capella, given kind of like his drop in production, even though he was actually still very efficient in the time he played, but his age, right? Like him kind of falling out of favor in Atlanta, him kind of needing that place to kind of establish and kind of reset a little bit his roots. Like he's a guy that I don't think is going to go get 13 million, right? Maybe some team, a team like the Golden State Warriors, maybe they look at it and go like, hey, we'll give you, I don't know what their salary cap is, but maybe they're like, hey, we'll start you, right? And we'll give you 10 million. Then, maybe he goes into something like that. But realistically, he's probably looking at the taxpayer mid-level. And then to me, that just kind of boils down to, like, again, sticking with a team like Golden State, does Golden State go, hey, you'll start for us? Or the Lakers would be like, hey, you'd be our backup, right? Like, so those things kind of sway things. But then, you got guys like Luke Cornett that the Lakers are interested in, right? Like, there's guys on the market, Brook Lopez, whatnot, that are cheap that you can bring in as backup. Any starter, more likely than not, is going to have to come via trade because there's just not those clear-cut starting level centers, right? Now, again, I've talked about this on several occasions, is that I don't think the Lakers need a super skilled center. Like, I don't think that they need this, like Mark Williams would have been great. Don't get me wrong. And I would still love to have Mark Williams. But I don't think that he is such a necessity that you have to go get a 20 and 10 center, essentially, right? Like, because again, you got to keep in mind, any center the Lakers get, at best, is the fourth option. At best. Because they're not going to be over Luka, LeBron, and Austin Reeves. Now, if the Lakers end up trading Reeves, or, a year or two from now, LeBron retires, maybe then. But again, that's years from now. And my thought process is like, okay, then get that skilled big man years from now, or go get a guy in the draft and then draft him and develop him. So that way in 3 years, he is ready to be that guy, right? Right now, I just think the Lakers just need a center that can provide the three things that the Lakers desperately need. What are those three things, Tyler? Well, let me tell you, rebounding, rim protection, and then just being that athletic lob threat, right? Like you need a guy that can hold his own, rebound well, right? Protect the rim, rebound, and then be that lob threat. That's all you really need, right? Clint Capella fills that role perfectly. I've talked about it on several occasions. If you told me the Lakers signed Clint Capella and then like a Jericho Sims or a Brook Lopez or a Luke Cornett or whatever, right? And those are the two centers that we start the season with, fine, so be it. Especially if we have to overpay for a guy. Like, I'm not overpaying for Daniel Gafford. I like Daniel Gafford a lot. I think he'd be great, but he's not so good you overpay for him. Like, what is he ranked? Not even in the league, just like centers. What is he, like 15th, 20th best center in basketball, right? He's good. No, he's really good, but like, he's not this like superstar center that's like, oh man, that's the guy that, man, he puts us over the top. He'd be great, right? He definitely would make us better. But a center period would make the Lakers better, right? To go from no center to like, hey, here's a Clint Capella that could give you a double-double, right? And is one of the best offensive rebounders in basketball, could go a long way, right? Add in like a Luke Cornett off the bench. It's like, man, you went from no centers to 2 legit centers, right? Boom. Now we're in business. So again, I'm fine if the Lakers go that route, especially if you have to overpay for a center. If Nick Claxton is going to take Dalton Connect in a first, it's like, no, it's silly. Like, we're clearing $68 million off your books. That alone has value. 2, yes, he is young, but he's coming off of a bad year, right? Now, part of that, I think, was just circumstances, his role, and things like, his role just drastically changed and dropped off. And, and just, I think there were circumstances. I think on the Lakers, he'd be much better, right? But again, like, there's a lot that you could point to and just be like, yeah, it's not worth selling the farm for him, right? So if it's like, we have to either overpay for a center or just go to hit the free agency market, then just go hit the free agency market. Right? So, okay, now that center is the 5th option instead of the 4th, right? Okay, but that's the thing. Like, I don't want the Lakers to just stand pat. Right? Go get a Clint Capella and then go trade for an Andrew Wiggins or something like that. Boom, there you go. Now Andrew Wiggins is your 4th option. Clint Capella is your 5th option. It's fine. You're good. Let's go win a championship, right? Round out the bench. Get, 3 guys off the bench that can do some damage. Go win a championship. So I don't think the Steven Adams signing or anything. I don't think it changes anything personally. But as always, this is a discussion. Pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one.